Okay, now we're going to look at the front end and see how we can send up the request. So open up index.html. Okay, in index.html I have basic styles and we're importing the jQuery library. And here we're going to have, in the body, we're going to have the stage, 2 inputs, username and password, and 3 buttons. So you can see here if they click log out, we're going to send up a post request to process.php. The second parameter is the data we like to send. So we're going to send up one key value pair, which is action and log out. Now this function gets called when the AJAX request comes back. And all we're going to do is update the stage with the message. Same with get. If they click the get button, we're going to send up a post request to process.php. We're sending up a data key action value equals get. When the AJAX request is returned, this function will get called and data will be passed from the server. So we'll update the stage's inner HTML with the data that comes back from the server. So let's see how we could do a login. If we wanted to do a login, we'll also do a post. So remember, for your final project, logins should use post. That way the data is not sent through the URL. It's actually sent through the HTTP body. So here I'm going to send it up to process.php. And usually what I'll do is I'll put the data here empty so we can make sure we have the function call correct. The second parameter is data. And the third parameter is a function that gets called when we return. So every time I write a post request, I'll start out like this. The data that we want to send will be the username and password. That way the server can check. First, make sure the server knows what we're doing. We want to do a login. We're sending up the key action with the value login. And we're going to also send up the username. This is the case sensitive part I was talking about. Make sure username is spelled correctly. And then we'll just go ahead and grab the value from the text field on the page. Okay, I can use jQuery for that, which makes it easy. And we'll also send up the password. Now remember, the data that I'm sending up here is actually a JavaScript object. So the last element does not have a comma. Okay, if I put a comma here, it will cause some error. So I'm sending up 3 key value pairs inside of a JSON object. First one is action with value login. Next is username with the value the user typed in. Same with password, with the password they typed in. Now this function will get called when the AJAX request returns. The server is going to return back the result, usually a response text. Here it's going to be some message. So open up these mustaches and decide what's going to happen when the AJAX request returns. Well, usually we just update the stage. Okay, update the user interface with the result return. If the login was successful, sometimes the action will be going to the home page. If the login failed, a good action would be an error message. Okay, but here we're just doing a simple proof of concept. So we're just going to update the user interface with whatever the server returns. Okay, this code is finished and ready to go. So I'll use FileZilla, upload it back to the server, and come to the browser and actually test my code. So if I log into the AWS console, I can get my public DNS. That way I can see the code running on the server. Now this code has PHP, so it must be ran on a server or a virtual server. Okay, so here I'm clicking the server, I'll click on connect. Here's my public DNS, I'll go to it. You'll see my default landing page. I put the directory in lectures, and I'll show you why. When I click lectures, I can see all the directories on my server. That makes it a little bit easier. That way I don't have to type, including spaces and parentheses. So I'll click on here. You'll see the browser types the directory for me, and we're going to be in AJAX. So here's the page. Okay, simple proof of concept. Let's type in the wrong username and password. So let's just type in stage. Try to log in. Okay, I get a message. Login failed. Why? Because the username and password was incorrect. If I type the right one, test, and then pass, you want to make sure you have this for your final project. One login must be test and pass. That way the TA can log in and check your site. So I'll do a login. You'll see login was successful, and then I set the cookie. How do I know I set the cookie? I can do an inspect. Go to the application data, open it up, come under cookies, select your site. Here's the cookie that I set, okay, with the username. So if I do the get content, you'll see it shows the protected data. Okay, so you don't want to be able to, you don't want to show the protected data unless the user is logged in. If I do a logged out, you'll see it deletes the cookie. So if I try to get the content again, you'll see it does not show the hidden content and gives us an error message. If I log in, you'll see the cookie set. If I try to get the hidden content, it allows me to. Okay, and one key thing, if I type the wrong username and password, make sure your login for your final project shows an error message. And I'll show you a good error message in the next video.